2010. On a stormy evening in Manila, capital of the Philippines, there is chaos. Emergency and rescue personnel pull the remaining bleeding survivors from a tourist bus that was hijacked at 9:30 that morning.
因為我跳出嚟嗰陣時，我已經係忍唔住啦，因為我已經係可能失血過多啊，頭暈啊，腳臂啊，出晒冷汗。
11 hours later, and the bloody end to the hijacking is broadcast around the world. Manila's police force received fierce international condemnation for their handling of the crisis.
Malungkot dahil siyempre ang napalagay sa mga dyaryo, sa TV, wala kaming kakayahan. Failure daw.
Why did it take so long to overcome the hijacker, who seemed so willing to cooperate with authorities?
I don't know, they were waiting for something, probably a miracle from heaven. It was too late.
In one of the Philippines' worst hostage disasters, this is the account of the tragic events aboard Hong Thai bus 799. The morning of August the 23rd, 2010 is a morning like any other in the old Spanish quarter of Intramuros, Manila. A popular destination for tourists and a respite from the more frenetic areas of downtown. But by mid-morning, on this street corner, a tourist bus is accosted by a man who at first makes out to be a policeman. Calmly, he asks the driver if the bus is going to the hero's graveyard.
嗰架車咯，咁騎住架車咁咪上咗車之後唔多識，梗係啦，叫我哋又坐低唔好嘈啊，諸如此類啊，聽佢指揮啊咁。
會驚嚇，即係唔知咩事發生。
And then, calmly, the hijacker announces that they are now his hostages.
就係呢正件事開始就嗰日就係好，所以就好。 唔係幾 happy 啊！
Mendoza reassures his hostages that his issue is not with them, but instead with the Philippine government. He says that he has been dismissed from the police service over a crime he did not commit. All he wants, he says, is his job back. But no one in the government is listening to his appeal. He tells the driver to start moving.
天主保佑啊！唔知話耶穌啊、基督保佑啊，或者咩之類嗰啲，呢個係自然嘅反應嚟噶嘛？啊，呢個因為佢有呢個信仰，佢咪有呢個自然反應。我就冇宗教信仰咯，咁啊係啲無可奈何，呢期嘅乜嘢？而家唯有係等住嗰個 outcome 啊，等佢啲結果，你睇點樣。
A short while later, the bus stops at the Corino Grandstand in downtown Manila. On board the bus, tour leader Diana Chan sends a secret text message to her office informing them of the hijacking. As word gets out, local authorities mobilize the police force. And by late morning, the media begins to show a big interest in the unfolding events. Television news journalist Erwin Tulfo of Channel 5 rushes to the scene.
All of us thought that this will be a usual, not an extraordinary hostage crisis. And for me as a journalist, this will just be another story. When I saw that this guy is a police officer, I said, like, he knows the deal. Probably he will give up. It's like no one was taking him seriously, actually.
Meron tayong designated person to talk to you.
Chief negotiator Colonel Yebra is assigned by the police authorities and faces an impatient media hungry for answers. He knows the task ahead is not going to be easy.
I used to know criminals who are taking hostages and mentally deranged people and terrorists, but it is different to deal with former policemen also.
As Mendoza ensures the driver cannot escape, police officer Major Salvador, a former colleague and good friend of Mendoza's, is nominated to make the first contact.
I asked if I can go near the bus so we can talk personally. And he said, yes, come here. I'm longing to talk to anybody. I want this incident to be finished immediately.
Mendoza reassures Salvador on the phone that if his one demand is met, nothing more will happen.
If he received the order that he is reinstated to the full service, he will handcuff himself and go down the bus, knowing that he already committed another crime that can be a basis for his another dismissal. He knew that all along.
As Salvador nervously approaches the bus, he notices Mendoza's demands have been written on paper and adhered to the windshield.
And I can copy that demand for me to show it to my superiors.
In 2008, Rolando Mendoza, a former police captain, was accused of drug charges and allegations of corruption. Stripped of his job and retirement benefits, Mendoza fiercely defended his innocence. But his case for appeal was reportedly met with silence, and he was left to face humiliation within the police force and his own family. Mendoza's demands are clear. Reverse his case for dismissal from the police service, and he will immediately surrender, releasing the hostages.
He only wanted that he be reinstated, his image be brought back to him, the pride, the Manila's finest morale. That's all he wanted.
Officially, yung ating negotiation is still ongoing.
But as the police make their first press statement, no mention is given to their former colleagues' demands. On board the bus, conditions for hostage Mrs. Lee start to become very uncomfortable. A pain in her stomach starts to get worse. Nervously, she makes a request to be let off. To her surprise, Mendoza grants her request on the condition that she comes back. But the police stop her from returning to the bus.
即係當我唔上得巴士啦，咁就感覺到係就好嚴重咯，好大件事咯。即係好多傳媒包圍住，就覺得係咁大件事。
Attracting such a strong media presence is exactly what Mendoza is counting on. Knowing that television cameras are now pointing at the bus, he uses this chance to air his grievances.
嗰啲 poster 嗰啲啊，嚟叫人哋貼喺個窗門嗰度咁樣嘅。
In a gesture of goodwill, another 4 hostages are released, a mother and 3 children. In return, Mendoza asks to speak with the media.
There was no media. Media were not allowed to go near the bus. All he said, I just want to make a press statement. But we were not allowed.
As the midday sun forces temperatures to rise inside the bus, Mendoza, armed with an automatic weapon and holding 25 people hostage, grows dangerously impatient. Over 3 hours since hijacking Hongtai Bus 799, authorities continue to show little sign of meeting hostage-taker Rolando Mendoza's one demand for reinstatement into the police force. Hostage Mr. Lee, a diabetic, has become unwell and is in need of medical attention.
I just told Captain Mendoza that there's an elderly man inside the bus who is sick with diabetes, and can you allow him to get out of the bus?
At first, Captain Mendoza, no. I will not release any more hostages.
With outside temperatures now exceeding 35 degrees centigrade, Mendoza wants to keep the engine running in order to keep the air conditioning working for the hostages. But to do this, he needs more gasoline.
When he demanded for the gasoline, for 20 liters of gasoline, that's the time that, okay, I will release the diabetic.
But as his demand for gasoline is granted, Mendoza appears to stall.
咁門多薩咧就叫我落車啊嘛，咁我落車咧，我落到最後一級嗰陣時，佢門多薩就撳住我個膊頭，撳住我呢邊嘅膊頭啊，膊頭，佢即係右手啊搭住我度，